The velvet rope parted and Josh stepped into a world of intoxicating allure. The air buzzed with a frenetic energy, a heady mix of laughter, music, and whispered conversations. This was Club Eden, a haven for the city's elite, a place where money talked and inhibitions were shed like unwanted skin. Josh, young and ambitious, had craved this life, a life where rules seemed to dissolve in the haze of champagne bubbles and pulsing lights. He had climbed the corporate ladder with ruthless efficiency, his moral compass conveniently tucked away, hidden beneath designer suits and a carefully crafted facade. Tonight, as he entered the inner sanctum of Club Eden, he felt a thrill course through him, a heady mix of excitement and trepidation. This was his initiation, his entry into a world where sin wore a glamorous mask, and the consequences seemed a lifetime away. As he accepted a crystal glass from a passing waiter, the clinking of ice echoing the frantic beat of his heart, Josh couldn't help but feel a flicker of unease. He pushed the feeling down, choosing instead to lose himself in the intoxicating allure of the forbidden. Later that night, as the city slept outside his window, Josh found himself kneeling by his bed, an unfamiliar position for a man accustomed to dictating terms, not whispering pleas. The remnants of the night's revelry clung to him like a bad cologne, yet a different kind of intoxication lingered, the bitter aftertaste of emptiness. The words tumbled out, halting and unfamiliar, a prayer whispered into the silence. "God, if you're out there," he began, his voice rough with disuse. "I need guidance. I feel lost." The confession hung in the air, heavy with the weight of unspoken truths. Josh, a man who prided himself on control, felt an unfamiliar vulnerability seep into him. He rose from his knees, a strange sense of foreboding settling upon him. Sleep, when it finally claimed him, offered no respite, pulling him instead into a dreamscape that felt more real than reality itself. He stood in a desolate wasteland, the ground beneath his feet cracked and barren. A heavy chain bound his wrists, its cold metal biting into his skin. Panic surged through him, a primal fear he had never known. "Help me!" he cried out, his voice echoing in the vast emptiness. "Someone, please!" A figure materialized before him, shimmering like heat haze. It was Josh, or rather a reflection of himself, yet different. This Josh radiated a light that seemed to emanate from within, his eyes filled with a sorrow that pierced through Josh's very being. "Why am I chained?" Josh choked out, fear constricting his throat. "These are the shackles of your sin, brother," the spirit replied, his voice a mournful echo of Josh's own, each link forged in the fires of your hidden transgressions. Josh stared at his spirit self, disbelief warring with a growing sense of dread. "Sins? But I've done nothing wrong," he protested, the lie tasting bitter on his tongue. The spirit sighed, a sound filled with infinite sadness. "Denial is a powerful prison, Josh. You have traded your soul for fleeting pleasures, your integrity for empty promises." He gestured towards the chains that bound Josh. "These are the consequences of your choices. Each act of greed, each betrayal of trust, each moment of selfish indulgence has tightened their hold." Josh sank to the ground, the weight of his sins pressing down on him, suffocating him. "Is there no escape?" he whispered, despair wrapping around him like a shroud. The spirit knelt before him, his gaze filled with a compassion that Josh had never felt worthy of. "There is always a choice, Josh. The path to redemption is paved with repentance and a willingness to turn away from darkness." Suddenly the landscape shifted. The barren wasteland melted away, replaced by a scene of breathtaking beauty. Lush meadows stretched as far as the eye could see, bathed in the golden glow of a setting sun. A gentle breeze carried the scent of wildflowers, and the sound of laughter echoed in the air. "Where are we?" Josh breathed, mesmerized by the ethereal beauty that surrounded him. "This is but a glimpse of what awaits those who choose righteousness," the spirit replied, his voice filled with longing, "a place where peace reigns and love knows no bounds." As quickly as it had appeared, the vision faded, leaving Josh back in the desolate wasteland, the chains on his wrists feeling heavier than ever. Section 6. The Seduction of Power. A figure emerged from the swirling dust, tall and imposing, his features obscured by the shadows. He moved with an aura of power, his eyes burning with an unholy light. "You needn't suffer this indignity," he boomed, his voice a seductive purr. "I can offer you everything you desire, wealth beyond measure, power beyond your wildest dreams." He extended a hand towards Josh, his long, pale fingers tipped with glittering rings. "Join me, and together we will rule this world and beyond." Josh felt himself drawn to the figure's promises, his heart pounding with a mixture of fear and excitement. The chains that bound him suddenly seemed insignificant compared to the power that was being offered. Section 7. A voice from above. Just as Josh was about to reach out and accept the figure's offer, a voice boomed from the heavens, shaking him to his core. Josh, do not be deceived. True freedom lies not in worldly possessions, but in the pursuit of righteousness. The voice was filled with such authority, such love and compassion, that Josh felt his knees buckle beneath him. He looked from the outstretched hand of the shadowy figure to the heavens above, his heart torn between two paths. The figure hissed, his eyes burning with anger. Foolish mortal, do you not see that this so-called righteousness will only lead to your downfall? Embrace your desires, and let us claim what is rightfully ours. Section 8. The choice. The weight of the decision pressed down on Josh, threatening to crush him. On one hand was a life of ease and indulgence, a life where he could have everything his heart desired. But at what cost? He looked at the chains that bound him, a physical manifestation of the darkness that had taken root in his soul. He thought of the glimpse of paradise he had been shown, the promise of true freedom and lasting peace. And then he remembered the voice from above, the voice that spoke of love and forgiveness, the voice that offered a different path, a path that led not to worldly power, but to something far greater, redemption. I choose freedom, Josh whispered, his voice trembling with conviction. Section 9. Awakening to the truth. He woke with a start, his heart pounding against his ribs. The remnants of the dream clung to him like cobwebs, the images vivid in his mind. Sunlight streamed through the gaps in the curtains, casting long shadows across the room. As he lay there, the events of the previous night came flooding back, the club, the drinks, the hollow laughter. And then the dream, the chains, the choice he had made. He rose from his bed, a strange new lightness in his step. The world outside his window seemed different, as if he were seeing it for the first time. The guilt and shame that had weighed him down for so long had lifted, replaced by a glimmer of hope. Josh knew that the journey ahead would be difficult, but he was no longer afraid. He had glimpsed the truth, and he knew that true freedom lay not in the pursuit of worldly pleasures, but in the embrace of something far greater. The love and forgiveness of a God he had almost forgotten. He had a lot to atone for, a lot to make right. But as he took a step towards the window, ready to face the new day, he couldn't help but feel a sense of gratitude. The dream had been a wake-up call, a chance to choose a different path, and he would not waste it.